this may just be the best performance I've seen from the Carlton Football Club in the last decade.
They are schooling Geelong in all aspects.
It's as good as I've seen a team play against us for a long time.
They have played one of the best games of football we've seen from anyone. One of the contenders this year.
We certainly don't feel like what we're doing right now will be the final version of what that looks like.
Fucking hell, Vossi, I don't know if I can take much more if we're supposed to experience better than that. Ari, take it away with the stat.
The last time Carlton beat Geelong by 60 odd points and kicked exactly 21 goals, and we had 9 individual goal kickers or more, and one of our players kicked 5 or more goals. It was 1995. Not only that, it was a 1995 grand final.
And so with that said, this performance was immaculate. Beyond the usual suspects, so Cripps and Walsh, 74 touches between them, Charlie and Harry, 8 goals between them. It was the 5 forward 50 tackles by Matt Owies, the 13 combined spoils between Wietering and Kemp, another 9 score involvements for Elijah Hollands with only 21 possessions, and 12 goal kickers. The only way I can describe it is Carlton were absolutely taking the piss.
Tip my cap to them. Fight really hard to kick a couple of goals, and then Cripps would throw someone off the ball and shrug 4 tackles and kick it inside 50, and Curnow kicks a goal. It was just sometimes good players and good teams get the better of you.
The theme of today's video, it's not tactics, it's not a player. Today, it literally comes down to showing you why Carlton were bigger, stronger, classier, and simply better. If you go on to enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, so you can remain tuned for the next Carlton analysis next week and every analysis on the run home. And if you want to become a channel member to support me financially, you're more than welcome to hit the join button below. Enjoy the video. Carlton's win can be attributed to many factors, but none more important than the forward pressure. Carlton's pressure rating in this one, highest of the year at 203. According to Chris Scott, Geelong shipped off 4 goals, 3 from defensive 50 turnovers, and this merged with Carlton's 80 tackles despite having nearly 50 more disposals is simply brilliant. These stats highlight Geelong's ineptitude in exiting the back half, equally justifying a heaping of praise towards Carlton's application and compact defensive structure on the night. This was especially important given Geelong's transition game success in the previous meeting in round 7. Take a listen to some Carlton pre and post game comments.
The last time we played him, I don't know if you guys cast him on back, with Ossie was pretty animated in the presser and still scoring, but we weren't being stingy on the defensive end.
Look, we've gotten to work on our system. We've obviously emphasised a few things defensively we need to be able to tidy up. Yeah, we're playing probably a little bit too much footy out of our back half. We've had these quarters or patches where we've been up against it. We would like to just get that a little bit more in balance.
Paddy, what do you take more out of tonight? The 138 points you've been able to put on the Cats, or the ability to keep them to only 75 points?
Definitely the defense.
Carlton definitely used the tactical advantages associated with beating Geelong in previous weeks on the night to help supplement this. Cincotta playing on Stewart, a defender, as opposed to a mid or a forward, well, it severs the ability of their main transition kickstarter. Without that foundation piece where they can, take a mark and settle and find an exit a little bit more methodically, Geelong had 31 of their 45 defensive 50 chains intercepted, resulting in 8 goals 5 for the Blues. The ripple effect of this? Geelong's +1 behind the ball, well, that doesn't look nearly as dangerous when it's in Carlton's attacking 50. Carlton can have their spare skirting along the edges of the 50. If not that, they could be disadvantaged for numbers at the forward 50 stoppage. On top, Blitzov's playing on Koning, or even Sam Koning for that matter. This is what Nathan Buckley had to say about the move.
That'll only work if Blitzov wants to run him forward. That only works if Geelong can get out of their back half with the same effectiveness that they did against Carlton in round 7.
As we've stated, it didn't work because the effectiveness didn't exist, and Koning could play with more assertion around the ball, with that safety blanket being the defense, holding it in the front half for prolonged periods. It's important to note Carlton's decision-making and execution on the night. Analysing this game is really simple. These attributes of Carlton's game superseded Geelong's and was a deadly combination with their exposure to an abundance of goal-scoring opportunities. I like what Chris Scott had to say post-game.
I'm not a huge fan of lamenting blatant skill errors, but what you can coach is the decision-making and the structure.
And while that coaching by Vossi has paid dividends, with the players maximising those benefits through their execution of fundamentals, let's see how it all culminated. The first bunch of examples are oriented around the Blues defending around the ground and how the pressure amplified the effectiveness of this defence. On this example, Geelong take an intercept grab, but they run themselves into trouble. Carlton's zone isn't giving too much short that complements the run of Kolodjasny, and in order for him to reach a longer option, well, he's gonna need to take up more ground. That ground can't be taken up with a Blue right here, and no cat accessible via hand pass to advance the ball. Even if there was, the Blues are close by there as well. Thus, Kolodjasny takes too long, and all of a sudden, Carlton have numbers at the coalface, which they can use to dart towards goal. This all unfolds at the 12:22 mark roughly, and the ball is only clearly won by Geelong to the 10:43 mark from 2 free kicks conceded by the Blues, either being first to it or over egregious on the tackle attempt. Though we'll see the Blues mechanism at play at the 10:40 mark following this concession the second time. Geelong switched the play to the outer side, but Carlton already have a nice distribution of their players. Given away the short pass wide, haven't allowed a pass more internal. For the next kick, there's multiple Blues Kolodjasny will have to take on if he wants to kick inside. And they'll allow it again with a kick along the line, but it'll have to go over a couple of Blues heads to reach a more centralized cat, and this kick will need to be pinpoint precise. From this setup, Williams blocks this pass off, and these two cats find themselves sitting ducks amongst a sea of Blues, who are simultaneously blocking their direct matchups as options as well. You keep them this wide and force a ground ball, and then it's just a matter of compression and the opposition will shit their pants. In this case, it gets spoilt here, and you'll have these 2 to 3 players close in. The longer option, as we will see, ends up being pressured by Kemp and McGovern, and Wiedering trails close behind should there be a loopy handball over the top. The philosophy with that is, well, it's not getting to Tom Hawkins from this point because your numbers collapse into such a tight space, and with the Blues killing Geelong for physicality, this heightens the chances of success even more so. And we see that here. This threat that Carlton posed must have spooked Geelong whenever they went into the corridor, because the option actually presents itself short, but having to chip over the top and that being punished by the Blues would have played on the mind. Then it's the work on the outer side with that switch once again, given the placement of Boyd and Owies to be able to roll up and work back, which deters Kolodjasny from going with the wider option, safer from punishment. So instead he pivots back into the corridor, by which point it is a shocking kick. It sits up, it falls shorter, so Holmes, he doesn't compensate until late, and Cincotta just cuts in front. So it's a mixture of Carlton's defensive structure, the potential psychological effects it posed, and poor execution all packed into one. There's one more example which I felt was particularly damaging, because Jeremy Cameron is one of the better tall forward field kicks in the competition. And on this example, he gets a good look to execute in an attacking position. I'm not 100% sure what his peripheral vision was showing, but I get the sense he saw this lead up first, which Newman cut off as Blitzov's runs back into the radius of another Carlton defender's impact zone. By the time he corrects and realizes what he's kicking to downfield, he's got McGovern under a meter away. Then he's got to hesitate on the kick again to overcome the tackle. This hold-up has meant Carlton's players in a triangle formation can just close in. Sam de Koning can pivot, but he's got to do it right into his brother on the right and Zach Williams on the left. Ollie Hollands closed into a distance where a kick right through him wouldn't cut it, and so he's got the time and space now to either straighten up and kick direct to Owies in this block of space, or do the same to a strong lead by Charlie. Carlton was so merciless entering forward 50 because by virtue of these examples, Carlton had numbers to affect all angles, a high amount of support once they retained it, and a lot of space given the shallow exit of the Cats. Another element as a part of Carlton's play which I really enjoyed was the composure element. I will call it, as much as you hate me saying this, the Pendlebury effect. A player who is able to turn a high pressure situation into a calm and composed environment. So on this example, I'm basing my analysis off the fact that the Carlton system is probably muscle memory at this point. They know Wiedering is marshalling the play behind the ball, and this kick-in is no different based off where he begins. Hewitt is also adopting a similar position behind the ball, having also started more centralized. Elijah could have done some loopy handball bullshit, which would have sent a teammate to the hospital, but Hewitt is there as the relief, and Hollands keeps it simple. Hewitt doing the same. Then Wheaters again keeping it simple, uses the structure for a switch as a decoy, lets a cat fly by, and goes right back into the eye of the storm with a measured kick to a blue the Cats players have deserted. And that creates a ripple for Cats to move away from where Hollands, who started this chain, was now placed. Carlton lock it inside their forward half again, and for a re-entry about 30 seconds later, I love Lockie Cowan's poise akin to that of Wiedering's. Beautiful sidestep to remove one, then pulls the trigger on the hand pass perfectly to remove Jai Clark from Akers. There were many options on offer that Akers would usually pull the trigger on. For example, some high up and under dump kick at the top of the square. But yet again, a quality execution of skill with a composed head allowed because of Cowan's single man effort to remove two Cats. I think for this example, the butter knives need to come out, or better yet, some bread knives, because we were cutting Geelong up on this example. The notable thing to come out of this example, constant quick thinking required, as Carlton players needed to pivot with the direction they took the play. But it was also the quality adapting these Blues were able to do, which I think placed them in very good stead on the night and left minimal weakness. Starts at the part of the ground where decision making is at its highest. I think Newman has a cheeky inkling where he wants to go, but even the cameraman is shaping up for a kick out wide, and that is executed really well. Then with McGovern, well, the handball to Walsh, he knew that wasn't all that smart. Play will slow up, given if you look for what's ahead a few kicks ahead, it's going to be slow play. Geelong have numbers to roll over. Carlton gain no depth on a kick wide. It's unproductive. So it's a good decision as the kick heads to where Carlton have that structure, which can serve as a strong foundation for build-up play. Then it is Kemp's turn to decision make. First, he doesn't like the down the ground option. Then he looks inside, but for whatever reason doesn't execute that pass, but he manipulates the space well. The constant switching by Kemp adds a bit of stutter to Rowan's run wide, which may have blocked off the possibility of this kick happening. And Kemp has got just enough room to ply his trade and nail a beautiful kick. Then Williams in traffic with some lovely moves to remove most Cat defenders. Then wrong foot the last Cat defender. The decision to not handball it helps because the momentum, well, it would be killed. Our players under more pressure in open play. So why not kick it? And so whilst the final kick lacks end product, a Carlton team of old, look no further than 12 months back, are inept in this regard. Not only lacking decision making on the fly to this level, but also executing that selection they've chosen to such a level as well. Finally, to have a little bit of fun, let's have a look at a montage of moments where Carlton just seemed to be absolutely taking the piss, making the 75,000 in attendance act in complete awe as the game transpired with Carlton dominating. Let's start with this example, which I think sums up the game quite well. Geelong were in charge of their own demise. Meanwhile, the Blues are belting a 30-metre inverted torp off the ground in honour of the Euros, and it's hitting a target. Got an elite moment here where McGovern does well to keep it in front, completely removes the more imposing figure in the contest, so Akers can trump the effort of Myers. Hollands with a beautiful pickup on the half volley, and on the left, a cracking kick. The play pans out inside 50 where Carlton's defensive structure again pays dividends, and Akers has a good 50 years to size it up, hand it off, and we have a passionate goal celebration to tie it all together. The sharpness on that play was beautiful, as was this by Sam Walsh. Ever done a three-man weave in local footy? Well, you'll see Walsh mirror the exact movement. Sweep around the back, then duck in front 10 metres upfield, and he gets on the receiving end to complete the play. Walshy again, beautiful bit of agility here, and for mine, this tops it off. Cowan faking a hand pass and a quality spin move to evade and steer clear of traffic like a 200 gamer. Walshy collects with one hand and off balance, does some ridiculous flick that is debatable for a hand pass, and Durden's follow-up at ground level, if we advance forward, is grouse for pressuring Henry into a hand pass and allowing Owies to be a resource to stop the next man in the chain. Simple handball missed due to this, and Charlie is a bit fortuitous with a Geelong player falling over to get his 5th, Carlton's 21st and final for the game. The best part about this compilation is that they all transpired in the 4th quarter, and there's still plenty of examples I could highlight which builds on this theme. Sard's one-handed pickup, the Weitering through the legs handball, Charlie Curnow's gathering kick for his second-term goal. I could go on forever. Fair to say, after a performance like this, I can't contain myself. We're winning the flag. Nah. But in all seriousness, surely even the most pessimistic Blues supporters can't help but be a little bit bullish about where this team can go in 2024. Though questions still remain. What players return when all 23 players hold their own weight? Vossi said this post-game about it.
Well, form always determines that, doesn't it? We still think we've got a couple of people we can add into that, but the form has been really strong. And again, you know, the cohesion and with the group being settled for a little bit certainly helped.
That's telling me two different messages and has me no closer to an answer on the topic. But nonetheless, no matter the personnel, please don't let that be a once in a blue moon occurrence, because that, my dear friends, is flag winning football. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another Blues analysis, but until then, have a great rest of your day, stay safe, and bye for now.